Hey everybody, Rosematter here, and welcome to part 15 of my Great Ace Attorney Chronicles Let's Play. In the last episode, we began the 5th case. We don't know what the case is yet, but we got some characters. We got Gina back, Gina the pickpocket from the 3rd trial, and I always liked her, like the brief time that she was on screen. She's just a very cool character, so I'm glad she's back. But it seems like this time, there's somebody going after her. There was that guy, what was his name? Benedict or something? That's not his real name. He was going after something of hers that belonged to McGilded, and it was like a music disc or something like that. So there's something going on, so I'm glad that we're getting back into this McGilded case because it ended so strangely, so I'm hoping we're going to get some more answers about who is behind McGilded's murder, and what Gina has to do with it, and what this mysterious guy who pointed a gun at us has to do with it, but there's only one way to find out. Let's continue on and let's see what happens next. See? That's why I hate grown-ups. All they do is feed you a pack of lies and take stuff away from you. Oh really, Miss Lestrade? Tell me, is that overcoat keeping you warm? What? Oh my, surely you were given that. Yeah, the D let me keep it, after I looked daggers at him for long enough. He went through the pockets and then said, "Go on then, have at it," before telling me to scarper. Always pays off, giving people a look like you ate them. I can't help feeling that it's going to get you into some serious trouble one day. Oh boy, isn't that some foreshadowing? Something's going to happen to her. I hope she's not going to end up being the victim. I hope someone's not going to murder her. What I really wanted was that nice shiny disc, mind. The music box disc. Music box disc. Why do I have such a hard time with that? But Mr. Windibank said it was practically worthless. I think I'm going to go and have another bash. Give him a long art stare. I think not, Miss Lestrade. We shan't enter Windibanks again today. Why not? That's not fair. It can't be helped, I'm afraid. The police are investigating the scene now and taking a statement from Mr. Windibank. But that disc's mine. I had the ticket for this coat, and it was in the coat's pocket. And there should be something else in all. That's what that rotten cope said, ain't it? Yes, he did mention something about another article, didn't he? Well then, that's mine too, whatever it is. Now she's really pushing her luck. Miss Lestrade, I think it's time to admit defeat. You've had your haul for the day. Yeah, and it's all your fault, Sholmes. So what are your plans now? Will you dine with us this evening? Oh, he's just such a charmer, eh? Iris would be delighted to cook, I'm sure, and I might entertain you with a modest violin recital. How could you deny that? No, Ta. Well, apparently Gina, she's made of stronger stuff than me. I'd be like, yeah. Oh. Why would I come round to your place, eh? You lost your head or something? Oh dear, she's gone. Having reviled on me quite unnecessarily, I might add. I can't help wondering if perhaps she might turn up anyway. Interesting. Once she's had a chance to calm down, I think there's a good chance she'll decide to come. Very well then. I'll inform Iris to set a place for our potential guest at the dinner table this evening. And one more thing. I should be glad of your company later, too. Sorry? I believe I will have a rather splendid surprise to show you. Oh, how exciting. What is it? You shall have to wait and see, Miss Susato. Until later, then. He's a little bit of a douche sometimes, but he's also a gentleman. After that girl cussed him out, he still invites her to dinner. I think it's just so he wants to show off how good he is at the violin to people, now that he's able to play again. Okay, so now we can actually explore out here. We weren't able to do that before. Look at all the different things in the window of the shop that we were just at. Ah, that's Windibanks. The pawnbrokery. We just came from there. It looks much smarter than a pawnbroker's in Japan, doesn't it? Yes, you're right. I find pawn shops at home rather inapproachable, personally. It reminds me of tearfully parting with my favorite fountain pen. I felt so miserable. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger, Mr. Naruhodo. Wow, like literally right next door. It's already been 2 months since we started taking lodgings here above Mr. Sholmes' office. I still can't quite believe it. I never expected things would turn out like this. Oh, I know. To actually be sharing accommodation with the world's greatest detective. If I ever find myself before a court of law now, I will have not one regret. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'd be happy to defend you, of course. Oh no! Oh no, is Susato is she gonna be a Maya? I'm surprised that Susato hasn't once been accused of something, because that's usually what happens with the assistants. Alright, that may be it, so let's go ahead and let's move. Well, it looks... Wow, I guess this is the side we've never seen before. This is definitely Iris's side of... Ah, Susie and Runo, come in, come in. Good afternoon, Iris. Thank you so much for breakfast this morning. Oh, don't mention it. Goodness, look at the time already. Busy as always? I am. I'm preparing everything for dinner this evening. Already? You're obviously cooking something special, are you? Oh, yes, after all, we have a special guest joining us. Guess who it is? Go on. You'll never guess. Look at those little eyes of hers shining. Oh dear, it is awkward when you already know the answer, isn't it? It's Ginny! Isn't that exciting? Oh, what a surprise. Yes, that's wonderful news. Wow, Iris seems overjoyed at the idea, even though Gina took one of her things before. I can't wait to learn some pickpocketing tips from a real professional. Oh yes, that does sound like fun. I'm not sure that's entirely appropriate. Are you, Mr. Naruhodo? By the way, Iris, what's Mr. Sholmes up to? Hurley? Oh, he's been like that ever since he got back. Oh no, he's all sulking again? Hello, Mr. Sholmes. I beg that you won't speak to me. My goodness, he goes through whiplash of emotions. Sorry? I don't know who you are, but kindly take your leave. Oh, as you can see, I'm not here. What? I don't know how to respond to that. I do apologize. When he gets like this, he's completely oblivious to everything. Yes, I see. Really, he behaves just like a child sometimes, Hurley does. Mr. Sholmes and Iris have something of a parent and child relationship, don't they? Yes, except that Iris is clearly the parent here. Come to think of it, I wonder where her real parents are. Is that just something you're gonna ask her? What's the matter, Runo? You have such a funny look on your face. Oh, no, it's nothing. I know what it is. Why does this girl live here with Mr. Sholmes, you're wondering? Am I right? How? How did you... Hee hee. Oh, Runo, I can read you like a book. Ugh, this girl is dangerous. Don't worry. You can ask me anything. I won't mind. What about the relationship with Gina? They obviously know each other? Like, do they cross paths a lot? Like, that's something that's kind of strange. Yeah, Ginny, exactly. So, by Ginny, you mean Miss Lestrade, the young woman from the McGilded case 2 months ago, right? Yes, who also stole my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Although, after that trial, I invited her back here, and we had dinner together. And now we're the best of friends. Oh, what a lovely tale. Yes, now if I bump into her on the street, she runs away as fast as she can. Oh. And I chase after her down the back alleys. Interesting idea of friendship. And then I let her have the latest color of smoke grenade I've developed. Oh. There are so many beautiful colors in the world. Ginny wants me to make a whole rainbow. I suppose this means... You've let Miss Lestrade keep the smoke grenade launcher, have you? Yes, that's right. That's gonna come back later. It's gotta. I got bored of it anyway. Hurley always reacts the same way when I shoot him with it now. Poor Hurley. Oh, I can't wait for Ginny to arrive. It's been too long since she last came over. I'm so excited. I just hope she does actually come. And yes, I want to get into this too. Like, what's the deal with these two and her parents and what's going on? I'm sure you've been wondering why it is I live here with Hurley, haven't you? Well, it has crossed my mind. That and where are your real parents? My mommy and daddy aren't with me anymore. Oh, about to get serious. About to get sad. Mommy passed away when I was born. And at around the same time, my father, well, he had to go to a faraway land because of one of the cases he and Hurley were working on. Oh, wait a minute. Did you say he and Hurley? Yes. Daddy and Hurley were always solving mysteries cases together. It's just kind of like with Phoenix and Trudy. It's kind of like an adopted daughter situation, it seems like. Or Trucy? Oh boy, is it Trucy or Trude? I think it's... Ah, boy, you think I would remember. She didn't mention that before. I think it's Trucy. He wrote them all in his diaries. That's what's in the metal chest over there. Really? He recorded them all? So, you mean it's true? Mr. Sholmes really did have a partner with whom he tackled some of his most taxing cases. Oh, yes. I mean, it's always nice to have one, isn't it? So Mr. Sholmes' partner was your father? Exactly. Hurley told me I wasn't allowed to look in the chest, but that only made me want to look even more, so I opened it up and found your father's memoirs. Yes, so I asked Hurley, who wrote these? He nearly fell out of his chair. But then he told me. That's when I found out that the author of all those accounts was my father. So Iris's father was Mr. Sholmes' partner. I've practically lived with Hurley all my life. I was tiny when he took me in. So, it came as quite a shock. When Hurley told me he wasn't really my daddy, I mean... It must have... I wonder why Mr. Sholmes chose to tell you, and at such a young age. Hurley says it's because he wouldn't have been able to hide it from me. Oh? Well, having lived with Hurley all these years, you might say his ways have rubbed off on me. There are some things I can just see. Oh, Iris has got powers too, especially lies. I almost know when people are lying before they open their mouths sometimes. Right. Anyway, I was so fascinated when I read Daddy's diaries. That's what inspired me to write The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, actually. I always assumed Mr. Sholmes simply told you all those thrilling stories. Oh, no, Hurley's hopeless like that. He forgets everything. As soon as he solved a case, it all but vanishes from his mind. Okay, it's nice to know that when he forgot about us after the boat thing, it wasn't like any sort of just like, oh, you're not important to me. I wonder if he's got some sort of like mental thing where he has a really bad memory. Oh, I see. The other day, it was so embarrassing. As usual, he totally forgot about the case he just solved. So the very next day, he gathered together all the people involved and proceeded to solve the case again. It was quite a shock for everyone. You can say that again. You share your father's surname, don't you, Iris? That's right, Wilson. Daddy is Dr. John H. Wilson. I learned from his diaries he's a doctor of medicine, you see. That's what prompted me to study and study so I could earn a doctorate as well. Iris's father, who went to some distant land, and is a doctor by the name of John H. Wilson. Alright, the court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke... Oh my god, right! Wow! Wow! Okay! What? I'm like frickin' Sholmes here. I even said that in the first thing, I'm like, oh, it's like Watson, but it's Wilson. Wow, I totally forgot that was the name of the guy who died in the first case. Wow, the connections. Everything's connected in this game. It's like the world's... it's like the world is so tiny. It's like these characters, even across continents, will come into contact with people and then be referenced later. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. The victim's name is Dr. John H. Wilson. Wow. So wait. So if that's actually him, so he's been gone away from home and just left Iris with Herlock the whole time up until like he died just a couple of months ago? That's right, visiting professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University. And the man who, in the most bizarre of circumstances, lost his life just before we left Japan. That means we're gonna see Giselle again, right? Like, she's got to be brought up. I was so upset when she just kind of vanished. And we're just like, oh yeah, she's gonna be brought and be tried somewhere else. And I never got a conclusion on that. I was just like, god damn it. She was like the only true villain so far in this game. And I'm like, I wanted to see her be punished. Miss Susato. Yes. Perhaps we shouldn't pursue this conversation any further at this time. I think that would be for the best. Interesting. Wow, wow, wow. Ah, my dear fellows, how good to see you. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. Why ever did you not make your presence known to me before? Well, no matter now. He would be such a difficult person to live with, I imagine, but he's cute at least. He's got that going for him. Well, no matter now. So how the devil are you? I want to have it so he just wears that all the time. Like, the coat and hat look nice on him, but I like this. We've been with you for most of the day. Goodness, really? He must have some sort of, like, memory problems. Maybe he got some sort of brain injury or something? Because that seems excessive, like, for his memory to be that bad. Do tell me, Mr. Sholmes, is your violin unscathed? And the fact that he would grab the wrong... Like, he's this great detective, but he grabbed, like, the wrong instrument as well? Like, there's something peculiar about him, for sure. My violin? Whatever are you talking about? Is there, like, a carbon monoxide leak in this place? Like, seriously, what is with this guy? Did he get poisoned or something? Oh, never mind that now. I have something far more interesting to show you. Behold, my dear fellows. Oh, another music disc. No, not another disc, Miss Susato. This is the one Gregson demanded we hand over as evidence, Mr. McGilded's disc. Oh my. Then what's it doing here? Heh. You know, at times, Mr. Naruhodo, I think that though I have an undeniable turn for detection, I may well be even more adept at larceny. What a thing to brag about. Oh, that would be wonderfully exciting. I'd be your pickpocketing assistant. And Runo could be our go-to lawyer if we ever got caught. Right. Oh, please let this be foreshadowing. Oh, I keep saying this, I want to defend Sholmes. He would be the most frustrating client to deal with because of his bad memory and also just, you know, him as a person, but it would be so funny. Plus, Susie has such beautiful handwriting. She could write all our menacing crime notifications. Yes, I'd be delighted. I'm just going to pretend this conversation never happened, I think. I don't understand. How did that disc come to be in your possession? I thought Inspector Gregson took it back to Scotland Yard. Quite correct. And that sort of uncompromising attitude is precisely why I always carry some of this. That's a bar of caramel, Mr. Sholmes. Your one and only friend in times of loneliness, if I'm not mistaken. If you will humor me, my dear fellows, cast your minds back to when the good detective confiscated the disc. I'll be taking that whatever it is and McGilded's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, that one had the blood on it, so that means that there was 2 discs, right? Did Sholmes find the other one? If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. For the briefest of moments, I had the disc in my hand, did I not? Yes, yes, you did, but I still don't understand it. He swapped it, didn't he? It was at precisely that moment that I summoned my one and only friend into action. I pressed the disc into a pair of bars. Oh, like this. Clever. Clever, Sholmes. That's amazing. The disc and all the minuscule protrusions have made an image in the caramel. Indeed, this caramel is quite exceptional. I developed it myself, you know. Suitably soft for making impressions, but resistant to melting. The result of a precisely controlled solution. How extraordinary. Carrying a pair of these on one's person frequently proves very useful indeed. Take a house key, for example. A simple press, and its unique form is duplicated. Yeah, I was gonna say, he definitely has a capacity to be, like, the world's greatest burglar if he wanted to. I can enter anyone's property at will, and never without high sucrose nourishment. Yes, it sounds illegal. From the image, I was able to create this. I confess I was more curious to know what manner of music would issue from the disc when played. Do tell us then, Mr. Sholmes. What music does the disc play? Well, unfortunately, I have no idea. No idea. None whatsoever. Are you familiar with the workings of a music box, my dear fellows? No, I'm afraid not. Goodness, you don't know, Runo? Inside a music box, there's a special metal piece called a comb. That's what produces the sound. Small, protuberances pluck the different teeth of the comb as they rotate past it, making the different notes. The first music boxes to be invented used a rotating cylinder with oh my gosh, this word. Protuberances. I feel like I've said that two different ways. But over time, a new type of player was produced, which uses discs such as these. With that development, the popularity of music boxes spread far and wide, all around the globe. Why exactly? Because the discs are easy to produce and can be interchanged to facilitate the playing of different tunes. There are a great many firms in Europe now manufacturing music boxes as a result. It is wonderful to be able to enjoy music, even when no performer is present. But it is the very success of the invention that means we are now presented with an insurmountable problem. What do you mean? As you may imagine, the construction of one firm's music box does not match that of another. And we have no way of knowing in which music box this particular disc was designed to be played. There is no resolution to this problem, I'm afraid. It's quite intractable. Ah, I see. So that's why. Naturally, I tested the disc in those few music boxes I have at my disposal. But, as you can hear, to no avail. The results were equally unsatisfactory in this one. So, I am presently engaged in acquiring an example of all the music boxes ever made in Europe. That would be annoying. Just imagine, like, if you had, like, CD players, but they could only play CDs that were made, like, maybe certain companies where they have their own CD player, and you can only play that company's music on their specific CD player. That would be so frustrating. Every single one? That's Hurley for you, always taking things too far. But, my dear girl, an unsolved riddle is quite repugnant to my constitution. But surely all the different types in Europe would amount to a huge volume of music boxes, won't it? Yes, that is certainly true, in the worst case. I shall just have to ask you to vacate the attic room. What? It's okay, you just give him a day and he'll forget he's even doing that and he'll move on to something else. And he'll be like, why do I have all these music boxes? Magnus McGilded, not a name I expected to hear again so soon. Yes, it's only been 2 months since that grisly case. Mr. McGilded perished within hours of the trial's conclusion. Was it the curse of the Reaper? No one knows still now. The omnibus was reduced to a pile of ash. Not a shred of evidence remained. And, with the man's death, the truth about the murder in which he was so intimately involved was buried. Even though we successfully established Mr. McGilda's innocence in the trial, the newspapers are still claiming that it remains an unsolved case. The murder of the brickmaker, Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. In the end, the truth of the matter remains a mystery. We still have no idea what really happened that night. And although Mr. McGilda was found not guilty through my defense, I still don't know if that was the right judgment or not. It would appear the case is not yet closed. Well, it's time I started getting things ready for dinner, I think. Ginny will be here before long. Thank you, Iris. Oh, well, you must let me help you then. Of course, Susie. There's plenty to do. I think I shall investigate the condition of my faithful performing partner. Now then, where did I leave it? Let this be a lesson to you, Mr. Sholmes. Never leave anything too precious with the pawnbroker. Yes, you may be right. Oh, that reminds me of something Mr. Windibank said before. He said that he had a manuscript of Iris's in pawn, didn't he? Did he? Yes, he definitely mentioned it. Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom. His words, I believe. So you heard about that, did you? I expect you were as incensed as I was. Oh, yes. The idea of such a wonderful story languishing in Mr. Windibank's storeroom gathering dust. My dear madam, I'm quite sure I told you already. The pawnbroker's storeroom is the safest place for it, more secure than a bank's vault. And what about your Stradivarius, Hurley? Was that safe and secure? Well, there may be the occasional mix-up, caused by a certain impetuous someone not too far from me now. Do you have any idea how long it took me to write that Baskerville story, Hurley? Oh, it sounds so exciting. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it. Wait, how did she know... What? Wait a minute. Susato? Oh. What's going on here? Why does it feel like an icy chill just swept through the room? Susie, what did you just say? You said The Hound of the Baskervilles. But how could you know the full title? Well, that's... Is that something to do with that letter that she got? That's because Miss Susato is such a great fan of all the stories about Mr. Sholmes, of course. But, Bruno, The Hound of the Baskervilles has never been published. What? When I showed Hurley the manuscript, he told me I wasn't allowed to publish it yet. I don't understand. That's why he said he'd keep it safe, until it was the right time for the story to be made public, you see. So that's why the manuscript is at Windibank's. And yet, how could Susie here know its title? Well, Hurley, what's going on? Uh-oh. Ah. What is it, Mr. Sholmes? He's just gonna run away. It would appear our guest has arrived. Oh, perfect timing. Miss Lestrade. This was a bad idea. I knew I weren't welcome. I'm going. No, wait, Miss Lestrade. We've all been eagerly awaiting your arrival. Haven't we, Iris? What is going on here? Yeah, it's like she got that weird, like she got a letter or something, and then Susato was really, I thought it was maybe something to do with Kazuma, or something that was delicate, but maybe it's something to do with this manuscript, or maybe Did Susato, like, sneak and read it? Like, I just imagine her just running down to the storeroom and going to check it out, even though she tells us not to do stuff like that. Oh, yes, just wait there, Ginny. We'll have everything ready in a jiffy. Come along, Susie. Iris is like, we need to talk. Right, of course. It's a pleasure to see you here, Miss Lestrade. Please, make yourself at home. Don't stand in the doorway, my dear girl. Come along in. What say you to some, oh my gosh, meddlesome? I won't take no for an answer. Meddlesome it is, then. And there's the kitty. That evening, Iris prepared us all a meal that was even more delicious than usual. Mr. Sholmes' violin performance was in no way meddlesome, and Gina, as we came to call her, taught us all how to steal things from one another without being noticed. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed themselves, well into the night. That was a very enjoyable evening, wasn't it? Oh, yes, Iris's cooking was truly divine, and I feel as though I can still hear the enchanting strains of Mr. Sholmes' violin even now. Best of all, I bet I could steal the glasses from his lordship's face next time we're in court. Now that we're alone, please tell me. Yes, please, let's talk about this. Naruhodo-san, can I consult with you about something, I wonder? What's the matter, Susato-san? It's about the telegram I received. Here we go. Ah, the one that arrived first thing this morning, I suppose. I've been summoned. What? Oh, summoned? What do you mean? The telegram was from the Lord Chief Justice's office. Lord Strongheart has asked to see me. The Lord Chief Justice? When? Tomorrow morning. What? Then we have to start preparing at once. Oh, no, that won't be necessary, Naruhodo-san. I've been summoned alone. Alone? What on earth for? Maybe she will be on trial for something after all. I have no idea. I suppose I shall find out tomorrow. What's all this about? Whatever it is, it's making me feel very uneasy. Oh, who could that be, I wonder? Good evening, friends. Ah, Iris, hello again. And Gina, too. Yes, Ginny's gonna stay with us tonight. She's going to sleep in with me. Isn't that right, Ginny? Well, yeah. How lovely. Let me make a pot of tea. You know, I've learned so much today. Oh, what in particular? All those things Ginny showed us. Wasn't it wonderful? Ah, you mean all the pickpocketing techniques. We had fun trying them out on each other, didn't we? I think I've awakened a natural talent. I could earn a living from it. You might be getting ahead of yourself a little there. So, what brings you up to our humble quarters at this late hour? Well, you see, I came to return this. Wait, what? That's mine. Oh my, however did you... I told you, didn't I? I have a natural talent for it. Oh, yes, I'd forgotten. Iris literally is a child genius. So anyway, here, you can have it back. Not that I really understand why you wear it, though. Ah, thank you. Alright then, good night. Yes, good night. I was hoping Iris was gonna confront Susato. Maybe she still is? So this is your office, is it? What do you think, Ginny? I think I wouldn't fancy me chances with a lawyer what lives in a place like this. Hey, it's cozy. Yes, me too. I like it. It seems as though Iris here still has something she'd like to talk about. Yes, yes, please. I suppose she probably wants to talk about the manuscript. Yes, I suppose she probably does. Iris, I suppose you're hoping to talk about the manuscript, aren't you? Aren't you going to tell me? I'm so sorry. I need a little more time, please. What? Alright, I understand. I hope I haven't made you feel awkward. Oh no, not at all, Iris. Not at all. I don't know what all this is about, really, but... It's a story you've made up, is it, Iris? This mental script, or whatever you call it? It's not exactly a story that I made up. It's something I read in Daddy's diaries. Daddy's? That's right. I don't suppose I've mentioned it to you before, Ginny, but my daddy was Hurley's assistant once, his partner. Eh? They solved all sorts of strange and mysterious cases together. Is that right, mister? Apparently so. I was as surprised as you are, though. And Daddy wrote all the details of every single case down, you see, in his diaries. So I study them and write my stories based on what actually happened. So, where's your old man now, then? He had to go away on urgent business to a faraway land, and he'll be gone a very long time. So, I've never really met him. So, Iris is 9, right? So that means that he's been gone for 9 years and then died just recently. Oh, right. Come to think of it, I don't know anything about Gina's parents either. Perhaps we should ask her. Sure, why not? Let's put it all on the table. Let's ask everybody about their parents. Iris, this Hound of the Baskervilles story. I take it that it's another tale inspired by your father's accounts. That's right. I thought it was fascinating. But it's different somehow. From the other cases, I mean. Oh? How? I don't really know, but it must be special in some way. Because after I'd written it, and I showed the manuscript to Hurley, he turned as white as a sheet. It was the first time I've ever seen him like that. It pains me to have to say this after you've toiled over it for so long, Iris. But the story must not be published at this time, under any circumstances. But why not? It's one of my best works. I'm not at liberty to say. Not now, so please do not ask me. Alright then, I won't. But I do solemnly swear I will explain everything one day, Iris, when the time is right. And that's how the manuscript came to be with Mr. Windibank, isn't it? Yes. It's gonna get stolen, isn't it? Hurley said it had to be somewhere very safe. I'm gonna guess that Mr. Windibank is gonna be the one to die. Someone's gonna steal that manuscript. But then, how does the music discs, like, factor into this as well? Maybe McGilded? I don't know. McGilded has something to do with that case? And there's something in there that... I don't even know. Like, they're putting a lot of emphasis on this manuscript and the music discs and McGilded, so... That really gets my goat, that does. He's treating you like a child. It's mean. That's what it is. Keeping secrets like that. I'm sure Mr. Sholmes isn't trying to be mean. Eh? If he said he wasn't at liberty to talk about it, I'm sure there must have been a very good reason. I think so, too. Tuh, you lot are too trusting for your own good. But he can't pull the wool over my eyes. Sholmes is lying to Iris. I bet my life on it. What? Hurley's lying to me? Alright, let's talk to Gina. She's obviously got... Oh, is she not here? Oh, there she is. I was like, oh, are we just gonna straight up ask her about her parents? And then also why... Yeah, we are. Okay. I've realized I don't know anything about your parents, Gina. I ain't got any, have I? Never did have. Oh. Look, the East End's full of orphans like me. No one wants nothing to do with us from the minute we're born, not even our mums. But we all stick together. The older ones look after the little ones and make sure they get by. So that's why you're a pickpocket. Of course, pickpocket with a heart of gold, eh? Nah. Divin's my life. I love it. Okay, never mind. I get a kick out of it every time I lift some pompous idiot's purse. And that's how we all afford to eat. I'm like Robin Hood, ain't I? That's how I see it. Oh, Gina. I do think about it sometimes. What it'd be like to have parents, I mean. I always thought it'd make everything right. But having listened to what Iris just said, it sounds like having parents ain't always easy either. Oh. I mean, if you know you never had 'em, you don't feel like you're always wanting to meet 'em. It's true. I do want to see Daddy so much. Oh, yeah. Oh, Iris. Why'd you have to go and say it, Gina? You just made things more awkward. Gina, what did you mean when you said that you knew Mr. Sholmes is lying to Iris? Well, you reckons he popped that mental script or whatever, right? But come on, that's obviously a load of rubbish. Oh my, why would you think that, Gina? It's simple. If that story was really an old Windibank storeroom, there's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words, you, could know about it. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. But Hurley would never do something like that. I'm sure of it. Ha! Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Barefaced liars, the lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. Yeah, Sholmes doesn't seem the type to be concerned about money. I am curious about how Susato knew the title, though. I'm telling you, that mantle script ain't at Windibank's. You'd soon see if you had a look. Even if you think you can trust him, I don't. That Sholmes is a liar like the rest of them. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. See, oh, but I don't mean that I think he sold it. I mean that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Don't be too hard on yourself, Iris. Oh my goodness, look at the time. Come along, Ginny. We should go back downstairs. Yeah, alright. And please, don't mention any of this to Hurley, will you? No, of course not. Good night then, Iris. Good night, Gina. You must let me make breakfast for you tomorrow morning. I insist. Oh, yes, please. I can't wait, Susie. Good night then. Iris, it sure is easy to forget, isn't it? Sometimes she speaks just like an adult, but deep down, she's still just a child. Well, I think it's time I turned in for the night too, Naruhodo-san. Dr. John H. Wilson, Iris's father, but also the name of the murdered visiting professor at Yume University. It can't be a mere coincidence. There's something deeper going on. There always is. It's always connected. Did Giselle end up giving a reason why she killed him? I feel like maybe... I don't know. Something about this Baskerville case that Herlock is trying to keep a secret. Wilson got murdered. Giselle, maybe that's the reason. Maybe she was like a spy or something that was sent to kill him, and that's why they whisked her away somewhere. Like, oh, no, she's going to be punished somewhere else. But she was given, like, immunity. I don't know. Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo. That voice. That's Mr. Sholmes. What's going on? It's the middle of the night. It's Miss Lestrade. She's gone. Gina? She was supposed to be sleeping in Iris's room, but her bed is empty. Well, she's an independent young woman. She probably decided to go home, no? I think not. From speaking to her before she retired, I received the distinct impression she was looking forward to breakfasting with Miss Susato. No, I don't believe the girl has gone home, but I've been waiting for over an hour now. Over an hour? Oh. Oh, he's such a sweetie. If you'll indulge me, look out the window, my dear fellow. He's like a concerned father. What's this about? Oh. Wait a minute. Why is there a light on at this time of night? And this is where the cameras come in. That's Mr. Windibank's pawnbrokery. Mr. Windibank's? Oh no. Oh, is she going to prove it? She's doing this for Iris? I don't know. I don't know if that's her. I think it's somebody else. If that story was really an old Windibank storeroom, there's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words, you, could know about it. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. Could Gina have gone? It seems you have some knowledge of the situation, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? Oh, no, not really. Well, anyway, we must investigate. At once. Miss Susato. The door to Windibank's. It's open. And the lamp is burning. It must be Gina, mustn't it? Let us hope it's nothing more sinister. What? Come, there's not a moment to lose. Clearly something is afoot inside. There's no one here. Oh yes, there is. Oh, oh, wait. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Sholmes. No, don't hurt my boy. What the? Has Sholmes been shot? Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. But after them, go. Oh my goodness. Wow, right. Whoa. Blast, I've lost them. Hello, what have we here? The alarm was just raised from this pawnbroker, sir. Would you know something about that? Officer, come with me. It's my friend, Mr. Sholmes. He's been shot. Shot. It would have been crazy if the Bobby ended up being the guy from the last one. He's back on the streets again. With the policeman close behind me, I ran back to Windibank's. I know Sholmes is going to be okay, but... Oh, God. Oh. Don't kill my boy. No.
How bad is it? Never mind me, but there's much at stake. Behind that door. In the storeroom. Hurry!
Oh. Well, I had a feeling he was gonna die. Oh, Gina.
It's Gina.
Oh, great. So Gina's gonna be the one who's gonna be thought to be the person behind it. God damn. Wow. Bang. I'll be alright, Mr. Naruhodo. After them. It's funny, I was talking about like, oh, will Susato be the one that I have to defend as the last one? Or maybe Sholmes, but no. Probably Gina, because she's in the room with Windibank. Oh, and the gun's in her hand. Yep. Okay, so she is going to be the one we're going to have to defend. It's Gina. Poor Gina can't catch a break. From that moment, Windibank's pawnbrokery became a crime scene. Everything that followed happened in a whirlwind of activity. The arrival of the police, the preliminary investigation of the scene, and the questioning. It was just before dawn before I was allowed back to my lodgings at 221B. Oh, Iris. A telegram came, but all it said was, "Wait at home." Oh, yes, we asked one of the policemen to have it sent. It was simply impossible to come back. Oh, and Susato's got to go to to see the Chief Justice. I wonder if somehow he knew something like this was going to happen and he wants Susato away from me. Maybe he realizes that Susato is she's kind of the one who really helps out Naruhodo in winning these cases, and maybe he wants to kind of like make it so Susato's not with me at the trial. This just seems like a setup. I don't know. And then Susato being called away. I don't know. When I woke up, I was all alone. Hurley and Ginny were gone. Everyone was gone. What happened, Runo? Poor Iris. She's trembling. She's obviously trying very hard not to let herself get too worried. I'll explain everything that I know. Something awful has happened, hasn't it? Yes, I'm afraid so. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, Iris, but Mr. Windibank is dead. He was shot. We discovered it in the early hours of the morning. Oh, yes, I had a feeling. You did? Well, I saw all those police carriages pulling up outside his shop, so I knew something must have happened there. When we entered Windibanks in the small hours, we disturbed a gang of 2 thugs. They ran out onto the street, and I chased after them, but they got away. So, it was one of them who shot old Mr. Windibank, I suppose. I don't know, but that's not what the police believe at the moment. Oh, why not? They've arrested someone else as their prime suspect, you see. Gina. Ginny? But why? Well, the thing is... No, Ginny wouldn't do something like that. I know. None of us think she did it. Then why have they arrested her? I'm sorry, there was nothing I could do. All I care about is Sholmes. I mean, that's not all I care about, but I know he's gonna be okay. They're not gonna kill off Sholmes. So where's Hurley then? Is he still investigating the scene? He really ought to have some breakfast. It's not good for him to miss meals. No, he's just gotta like lay on her like all of this bad news. I don't want you to worry, Iris, but I have some news about Mr. Sholmes. He was taken to hospital this morning. What? Well, when we entered Windibanks, a gun was fired and he took a bullet. Hurley was shot? No. It's all right. His life isn't in danger. Really? Are you sure? Where is he? Which hospital? He's at St. Sinner's. They're tending to him there. I must see him at once. I'm sorry, Iris, but you can't. Why not? That's not fair. I'm a family member. I should be allowed. No, I mean, nobody can see him at the moment. He's not allowed any visitors. They're preparing to operate, you see. To operate? Oh, poor Hurley. It was the 2 thugs who were in Mr. Windibank's shop. They shot Mr. Sholmes when we disturbed them, you see. It was pitch black inside the shop at the time. My mind went totally blank, I'm afraid. I just froze. After that, I ran out into the street, but, well, they were long gone. I shouldn't have hesitated. I'm so sorry. It's my fault. I let them get away. I think That's a very good thing. Sorry? Well, if you'd seen which way they went and chased after them, you might have been shot as well, Runo. On top of everything else, I couldn't bear that. Oh, Iris. Alright, let's talk about Susato. Where's Susie, Runo? She's still at the police station. Oh, why? I expect she's still being questioned. The police said they wouldn't be finished for a while. Why aren't you there, then? Well, I didn't get a good look at the criminals anyway, so they weren't questioning me for long. And Miss Susato stayed behind at the scene to tend to Mr. Sholmes, so they didn't get started until later. Ah, I see. Besides, one of us had to come back to be with Iris. I'm glad Inspector Gregson agreed to let me leave early. You should have let me know, and I would have come to the station. I don't understand why they arrested Ginny. It's not fair. What about the two thugs that were at the scene? Why aren't they the prime suspects? After all, they shot Hurley dead, didn't they? Whoa, what? No, I mean, Mr. Sholmes isn't dead, Iris. Ah, this is all so horrible. The thing is, Mr. Windibank was found on the floor in the storeroom where he keeps all the deposited articles. And the storeroom door was locked from the inside. Locked room scenario again. Goddamn. It's been a while, but I see. But he wasn't alone in there. Gina was found next to him on the floor as well. Oh no. And according to the detectives who investigated afterwards. Don't tell me. There was no one else in the room? Yes, exactly. How did you know? It's the only explanation. Yes, the only explanation indeed. What do you mean by that, Runo? Well? Ugh, what can I say? I'm damned if I agree, damned if I don't. I'm afraid I'll need to go out again now, Iris. There's not much I can do at the moment. But I can at least try to find out how Mr. Sholmes and Gina are getting on. I want to go too. Take me with you, Runo. She's gonna be like my new little sidekick until Susato is hopefully back at my side. I can't stand just sitting around here waiting. I wonder if Iris will be my, like if Susato is kept away from me by the Chief Justice, maybe Iris will be, because she said she's good at detecting lies and stuff, so maybe she'll be my little assistant. I'm not sure how I feel about taking a 10-year-old child to the scene of a murder, but I don't want to leave her all alone here either. Alright then, Iris. Perhaps you can help me. Oh, yes, I'd love to. Gina's at the prison. Mr. Sholmes is probably in his hospital bed. And don't forget, we have to visit the crime scene. We need to conduct a thorough investigation. Ah, I can see you're ready for action. I imagine Iris would appreciate going to the hospital sooner rather than later. I wonder if she's gonna have, like, contraptions to kind of help investigate the crime scene. Things that the police don't have. She's like, Emma Skye, a little bit. Okay, where should we go first? There's a lot of places we can go. Well, I mean, the prison's got the flashing, you know, exclamation mark, so I guess we should probably go there first. Surprised they let her keep her bag. Hello, Gina. And the gun. What? Jeez, they didn't confiscate any of that stuff. Oh, you still have the grenade launcher Hurley and I made. You think she's a murder suspect, and yet you didn't take that away from her. I wish you wouldn't point it at me all the time, though. What are you here for? I'm gonna teach her she can trust adults sometimes. Jenny, I have a feeling it's because of us that you've ended up in trouble, so we were thinking we might be able to help you. Well, you can't. Sorry? You heard. Get lost. Don't be like that, Jenny. I know you didn't do it. You'd never shoot someone. I just know you would. Well, not with an actual gun. You think you know me? Pull the other one. Oh. You ain't got the first idea about the likes of me. I'm a thief. I pinch people's purses when they're walking down the street. That's how I get by. And if I saw me chance, I'd sneak into a pawn shop any day of the week. Just see what I could lay me hands on. Get it? That's the kind of person I am. But Ginny, I'll be in court tomorrow, they said. Some cove came by before and said he'd be a lawyer for me or the like. Said it was my right or something. But I told him to get stuffed. I don't need no lawyer. I don't need no one. She couldn't be staring at me any more obviously if she tried. Why are you being like this, Ginny? I don't understand, Gina. Why did you send the public defender away? He wanted me to sign some papers. Representation papers or something like that. It's all gonna be rigged anyway. The whole trial. I feel like the public defender was secretly... Yeah, she might not be too far off. I feel like this is all a setup. Something to do with McGilded, right? This whole thing I feel like has got to do with McGilded. Don't pin it on me because I'm a kid. That's what grown-ups always do. Why do you think that? Because that's how it always been for me growing up in the back slums. Me whole life. If you do what the grown-ups tell you, it'll get your mates dragged off by the coppers. Or worse. I've had it happen to me before and all. Been sold out and nearly snaffled on the back of it. You can't trust no one, that's the point. Soon as you do, you're gone to the grass. Dead. Gina, listen. If you like, in tomorrow's trial, I could forget it. Ginny, don't you trust Runo? Nah, I don't. Look, I'll ask you nicely now. Just leave me alone. So I'm gonna not do that. Will you tell us what happened, Gina? Last night at the pawnbroker's. There's nothing to tell. I figured it paid me, so I broke into the place and started going through the storeroom. But the old bloke walked in on me, and you know the rest. But why, Ginny? Why would you do that? Ain't it obvious? The place is full of stuff I could sell for a shilling or two. Divin' ain't easy, you know. It's a lot of work, and half the time, you don't even get nothing. Is that really why you broke into the place? What? Are you sure the true reason wasn't something else? Like getting that manuscript? Trying to find it? For Iris? Oh, give it a rest. What'd be the point anyway, eh? Nothing I could say would make a blind bit of difference. Please tell us, Ginny. We'll believe you, whatever it is. Believe me? Don't be daft. You can't believe nothing. Everyone lies all the time. And you know what? When it comes to liars, I'm the biggest of the lot. I've told some unforgivable lies, I have. What do you mean by that? What unforgivable lies? What did you mean before, Gina, when you said you were the biggest liar of the lot? Why don't you tell us what these unforgivable lies you told are? Maybe we can help. Sorry. We're out of time. They're gonna want to question me now. Ginny, please. Oh, yeah. I wanted to give you this. Something to remember me by. Aww. A photographic print of a really adorable cat. I found it in one of the pockets of this coat. Ain't no point in me having it. I wonder what a little photograph like that was doing in a pocket of that overcoat. Anyway, don't bother coming again. Bye. Oh, Ginny. Okay, so she found that in her coat pocket. There was that music disc. And there's a disc, another disc that was supposed to be in there that's missing. It's something to do with McGilded. Alright, well, I mean, I don't know if there's, nothing. Is there anything I can present? I'll present this and see if she'll let me. Would you have a look at, that's strange. Where's my armband gone? Oh! What's the problem? Something wrong? Don't suppose. You're looking for this? Yes, but how? And when? And how again? I got a talent for it, haven't I? Divin. That's bordering on black magic. And it makes what I was about to say about my armband seem a little dull. So, what you want to tell me about it then? Okay, so nothing there. I thought it was going to be a whole thing about like, I'm a lawyer, let me defend you, but okay, so nothing else here. All right, let's go see my boy. See how he's doing. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, granted, it's you know, the 1900s, but I'm just like seeing the cracks and the walls and stuff. Not a place where I'd feel too comfortable going in for surgery. Hurley. Oh, he's not here. No, that's strange. The nurse definitely said he was in the bed by the window, didn't she? Did he make an escape? Oh, I know what's probably happened. Hurley was being a big baby, and the bullet wound wasn't that bad after all, so he's been sent home. I'm not so sure about that. Baby or not. There's no question it was a fairly serious injury Mr. Sholmes suffered. Oh. Hello, hello. What have we here? This ward is off limits. No visiting. What are you doing in here, eh? Well, I'll have you know. We're Hurley's next of kin. Eh? Oh, well, begging your pardon then, ma'am. Sir? A little lady and a curious Eastern gentleman. The great mystery solver as a mysterious family, eh? That's how you see us. Sure. Where is he, Constable? Where's Hurley? I believe he's currently in the operating theater, ma'am, undergoing an extensive operation. Extensive? It has been several hours since he went in. Oh dear. Is he going to be alright? Well, it doesn't appear to be working, you see. The anesthetic, that is. Something to do with his memory or whatever. There's something going on with that guy, with Herlock. Oh. I have heard a report the gentleman claims he may have had a little much to drink last night. Coffee, that is. Ah. Anyway, I think it would be fair to assume that he won't be back here for several hours yet. It's more than that. It's more than the coffee. There's something with him. He can't take anesthetic. He has a very bad memory. I see. Thank you, Constable. Perhaps we should leave and come back later. Oh, poor Hurley. I wonder if Iris knows anything about that. Well, let's we can actually examine here, so let's check it out. I was hoping I'd be able to read. Oh, this must be Mr. Sholmes's bed. Poor Hurley. I know, and looks as stiff as a board, doesn't it? Oh, I don't think that will bother him. No? I often find him asleep face down on the floor, completely dead to the world. I think I'd call the police if I discovered someone like that. There's a notice board on the wall here. Look, let's see. What does it say? Thought of the day, on seeing any vermin, calmly and discreetly inform matron. Oh, yes, they have rats and mice in hospitals like this that love to feast on all the medicine. If you don't deal with them, there's nothing left to treat the patients. Rats and mice? Oh, I see. This is a rather old building, I suppose. But the doctors and nurses are all very good, I hear. I certainly hope so for Mr. Sholmes' sake. Apparently London, I mean, even now, they have quite a bad rat problem. I was listening to a podcast recently about the like, or re-listening, because for some reason I like listening to this stuff, about, you know, the Black Death and stuff like that. They said, like, even today, I think they say that London has more rats than New York City, which is crazy. So I can only imagine back then how bad it was. I wonder what these are. Do you have any idea, Iris? Oh, haven't you ever seen crutches before? Let me explain. They're for people with leg injuries, to help them walk. You hold one under each arm, you see. Ah, right. I thought they were weapons of some sort. Why would there be weapons in a hospital? I thought maybe a fighter had been injured in a battle contest and been brought here along with his weapons. That's surprisingly plausible. Okay, I think we've seen everything, so we'll go ahead and get out of here. So now we have to investigate the actual crime scene. So we got Baker Street. Yeah, so we'll go back to Baker Street. There's still a Scotland Yard carriage outside Windibanks. I never imagined we'd be investigating a case so close to home. Poor Iris. She's very upset by all this. I'm sorry. I was there. I should have done more. None of this is your fault, Runo, so please, don't apologize. But it's the criminals who are to blame for all this. So, let's investigate and work out how to catch them. Yes, you're right. When Hurley comes back home, let's have a big party. That's a great idea. I'm sure it won't be long. Mr. Sholmes is very tough. Yes. Okay, so it doesn't seem like there's too much else. There was that street I didn't get to check out before. It had the one that actually had the snowman on it, right? And that's where that picture was taken of that white cat. Okay, yeah, I don't see anything else, so alright. I guess I'll just find somewhere to go that will move the story along. Oh, there it is, right there. Duh. I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to actually go investigate. Alright, we gotta look at the pictures from the camera. This is where it happened, then. Last night. That's right. The two thugs I told you about were obviously ransacking the place looking for valuables. But apart from the policeman in here, you wouldn't know anything has happened. There's no sign of a disturbance. Well, there's some broken glass on the floor. No, you're right about that, actually. It's almost like a cover-up. In fact, if anyone, it's the police who seem to be the ones doing the ransacking. I know what you mean. They're like a gang of organized criminals all dressed in black. Oi, I heard that, and plus, Ryunosuke, you're all dressed in black, too. Hey, Gregson. Oh, Inspector. Good morning. I suppose I ought to thank you for your vigilance last night. We got to the scene before it was disturbed, at least. Shame you let the two rogues get away, mind. Yes, I'm sorry about that. I thought you'd assigned extra men to the beat around here, Gregsy. Now look what's happened. Hurley's been injured because there weren't enough police on duty. Ah, yeah, your ladyship! No one told me you were coming. I expect you to take full responsibility for what happened to Hurley. See as the very best medical care. Okay, I want to know, why is Gregson so, like... Why is he like this with Iris? Does it have something to do with her father? I don't know. It's just strange. Of course, your ladyship. The very best doctors in the capital are tending to him as we speak. And I don't think it's Runo's fault the rogues managed to get away, is it? Chasing criminals is the police's job. Yeah! Absolutely, your ladyship. As you say, ma'am, as you say. Iris, can you please explain why Gregson is so indebted to you, it seems like? Did you do something for him? The gent in black is totally blameless. Everyone's in agreement about that. Would you believe it? It's like a completely different person with Iris. Talk about a personality change. What if Gregson... What if Gregson is secretly her father? Bum bum bum. Because the whole thing about, like, a personality change, and it was highlighted, I'm like, what's going on here? Oh, where are me manners? Are you thirsty, your ladyship? Perhaps you'd like some juice. Some nice, refreshing fruit juice. It's so strange. Oh, why? Are you thirsty, Gregsy? I have some of my special herbal tea with me, if you'd like some. Glug, glug, glug. Ah, lovely. Ta, very much. That really hit the spot, your ladyship. Oh, whenever they say ta, it just, like, warms my heart because I had Scottish grandparents and they said ta a lot, and it just, like, oh, it just makes me so happy to hear that. I don't even recognize him like this. Yeah, let's get into that. Okay, we'll talk about the other things first, but like the ladyship thing, what's up with that? So, how's the investigation going, Inspector? Nothing to it, really. Very simple case, this. There's some very definitive evidence. We're just about to charge that diver we arrested last night, in fact. Gina? You're going to charge her? That's right. Should be able to bring her before the judge at the Bailey tomorrow. Definitive evidence, you say? What is it? Come on, show me. Your ladyship, as much as I wish I could oblige you, I'm afraid... Ah, I see. You've already captured the pair of thugs who broke in here last night, have you? What the... And you're going to put them on the stand as witnesses, are you? How could you... How could you possibly know that? Well, I mean, at least they caught them, I guess. I had a feeling, that's all. Remind me never to try to keep a secret from Iris. So you've arrested the two men who shot Mr. Sholmes, have you? Well, yes. They were rounded up pretty quickly by the lads on the beat. And Miss Lestrade is being held at the prison. She should be. That's assuming she hasn't lifted the key from the jailer, of course. Can you tell us anything about Mr. Sholmes? What's his condition? Sorry, I'm not at liberty to divulge that information. Scotland Yard matters are strictly confidential. Well, I know he's being operated on at St. Sinner's. Why can't I see him? I'm family, you know. I'm terribly sorry, your ladyship. It's the hospital's policy. No visiting at all. Oh. The bullet must have hit an artery in his midriff. He's lost a fair bit of blood. Oh no. He didn't seem too bad in the first hour or so, but a hemorrhage like that is enough to make even the one and only Sholmes pipe down. Mr. Sholmes is a human like the rest of us, you know. Well, anyway, he's having emergency surgery right now. They've got to stop that bleeding. But he will be alright, won't he? They'll be able to make him better? Of course, your ladyship. He'll be right as rain before you know it. Really? How do you know? How do I know? Well, because, of course. Because Mr. Sholmes is such a great detective, that's why. We'd better pray the doctors have a better grasp of what's needed to make someone well again. Oh dear. Please don't die, Hurley. I'll report to your ladyship the moment I hear he's out of the operating theater. I couldn't help noticing, Inspector. What? Out with it, Sunshine. Well, there seems to be a marked difference between the way you talk to me and Iris. Watch the sauce, Sonny. I'm a copper. We don't go in for favoritism. But he's right. You do treat us differently. Alright, let's get into this. It's 'cause of those Adventures of Herlock Sholmes stories. That's why. Oh. I crop up on 'em, don't I? Inspector Tobias Gregson. Oh, well, yes, because you're an acquaintance of Hurley's. What did you write about the Inspector, Iris? Huh? I don't remember, really. It was one of Sholmes's lines. Gregson is the smartest of the Scotland Yarders, is how he put it. Oh, did I write that? And you know what that one line did for me, eh? The very next month, my pay doubled. Doubled, I tell you. Oh, that's amazing. All because everyone at the Yard reads them. They read all the Herlock Sholmes stories. They've even set up a fan club for me. Of course, that explains everything. It was around that time that you became such a toady to me. Can you blame me? All it takes is one bad word from you and Sholmes could change his tune about me. Ah, okay. Gregson? No, the great detective will say. He's getting quite overrated these days. Think what would happen to my salary if that came out in print, eh? The whole thing gives me the willies. I can't tell you how many nights of sleep I've lost to worrying about it. But that would never happen, Gregsy. I wonder if he knows it's not her writing. Actually, I don't know about that. Did she put that in herself, or was that from her father? Like, did Gregson know Iris's dad? Every month when the new Runst magazine comes out, my hands are trembling as I turn the pages. Oh, how awful for you. Here, have some of my tea to settle your nerves. Ah, lovely. Ta very much. That really hit the spot, your ladyship. Teetotal. Oh, yeah, there's something I was supposed to talk to you about, actually, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? What is it? I've got an important message for you. I clean forgot about it until now. An important message? I wonder what it could be. Are you going to tell me what this important message is then, Inspector? Yeah, it's about that young lady who's normally by your side, your assistant. Dear Susie, is she alright? She's at the station, isn't she? Being questioned, I believe. Nope, not anymore. She had to head off. Head off? Where? To Lord Strongheart's office, of course. He summoned her. Ah, yes, of course, I'd forgotten about that. One of the whipstocks took her there in a yard carriage after we finished questioning her. But she asked us to tell you she didn't have the fare for the return journey, to go and meet her there. She's got a nerve using Scotland Yard as a bloomin' messaging service. I see. Well, thank you for passing that on, Inspector. Why did Susie have to go see the Lord Chief Justice? She didn't tell me, but I'd better head over to the Lord Chief Justice's office to fetch her straight away. Alright, well, before... I don't know if it's going to let us actually check out the crime scene. I would hope so. Before we go see Susato. I don't know if we need to get Susato first, but the police are scouring every inch of this place by the look of it. Instructions from the yard are to examine every article in the shop and every ledger and book of accounts. Every article? But that's a ridiculous amount of work, surely. We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene in the early hours. We're sifting through it all in shifts at least, but still. We'll be working through the night, that's for sure. And even then, we'll barely have scratched the surface. A crime in a pawnbroker's. It must be every policeman's worst nightmare. It's every copper's worst nightmare, you know, a crime in a pawnbroker's. Alright then, let's see what we can uncover. Oi, what do you think you're doing, Sunshine? You can't touch anything in here. Oh, but we were hoping to investigate. This is a crime scene for Pete's sake. No touching. What's the problem, Gregsy? Runa's a lawyer. You know that. Oh, I'm ever so sorry, your ladyship. Ever so sorry. The rules and regulations are a thorn in my side. Of course, if Mr. Naruhodo were to have properly be appointed by the accused, that'd be another matter. The accused? Yeah, so she's got to agree to let me be her lawyer. If you could show me some representation papers, I'd be only too happy to let you know what's around. Did you hear that, Runo? You need Ginny to sign some representation papers. It looks like presenting the detective here with the correct paperwork is the only way. Alright, well, so much for that. So we'll go ahead, get out of here. So we'll see Susato first, and maybe she can convince Ginny. I mean, look at me calling her Ginny now. To, there we go. Yes. No matter how many times I come here, I always get the same sense of oppressiveness somehow. Do you think this place is oppressive? I think it's normal. How so? I mean, look at that suit of armor over there. You can't take that seriously, can you? Maybe it thinks the same about you. So everything is clear with regard to tomorrow's arrangements, I trust. Yes, thank you very much. There they are, Susato-san and Lord Strongheart. I wonder what they're talking about. They both look very serious. Very good. There's nothing further to discuss. You may return to your lodgings. No doubt you have much to do in preparation for your return to your homeland. Oh, it's the... Wow, okay, so they're straight up being like, you are not... He's hiding something, and he... Like, I'm too good at my job, and he's just like, you're not to take part in this... What's the word? In this trial. Wait, what did he just say? Your return to your homeland. Susato-san. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. What was all that about? Maybe this is the reason she wanted to keep things from me? I don't know if she knew that this is what it was going to be for. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, thank you for coming to collect your colleague. What's all this about? Why were you talking about Miss Susato's return to her homeland? Oh, is she just saying just Susato? And tomorrow? Tomorrow? But what about Ginny's trial? You mean... She's been formally charged now. Oh dear. Oh, poor Iris. She's like, Herlock is in surgery. Ginny's being charged with murder. Susato's leaving. Yeah, we gotta get down to like, what the heck is going on here? She's too good. She's too smart for her own good. Strongheart doesn't want her here anymore. Miss Susato, he knows that she's carrying him. Miss Susato, what's all this about? Oh, please don't concern yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. It's only me going back to Japan. Your life here can continue, just as it has. That's not what I asked. What happened? Why are you leaving? It's my father. He's fallen ill. Oh, oh. Well, I wasn't expecting that at all. Oh no. Or maybe they're just saying that to get her away. Professor Mikotoba? If I may... Yes, sorry? You must be the defendant. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Yujin Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. We received an international telegram from the Empire of Japan informing us of the news. So I know that he said he was friends with Wilson, but what if he was secretly behind Wilson's murder? This all just seems very suspicious. I don't feel like this is a coincidence, the timing of everything. 10 days ago, father collapsed with a fever. The cause is apparently unknown. But then again, yeah, I guess they wouldn't... I forget about that. The telegrams take a long time to get over, so I think I'm talking out my ass, actually. Now, if this were like a phone call or something, that'd be one thing, but for them to set this up 10 days in advance, yeah, okay. It seems he's grown weaker day by day. I don't believe it. As you are aware, the voyage from here to your country's capital, Tokyo, takes some 50 days. I thought it would be prudent to hasten Miss Susato's departure as much as possible. Yes, absolutely. I will leave London first thing tomorrow morning. I can't believe this is happening. Well, I guess it's gonna be Iris. That sucks. I mean, I like Iris, but Susato, she's awesome. So Gina's been charged. She'll have to appear in court. Yes, she was formally charged a few hours ago, and the date of the trial has already been set for tomorrow. No, not even 24 hours later? Gina. Ah, the Lestrade girl, and the murder of the Baker Street pawnbroker, yes. An all too conspicuous case. The pickpocket was clearly disturbed mid-robbery and shot the man in a panic. No, the art is overstretched as it is, without wasting time on these open and shut cases. It's not wasting time. Ginny would never do something like that. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes, Lord Strongheart. In deference of your fine services to date, I shall overlook this young girl's insolence. But I've no recollection of admitting a child into my office. Leave, now. Of course, Lord Strongheart. Criminals will tell the most palpable lies in order to evade justice. The police can ill afford the time it takes to unravel all their untruths. Meanwhile, more crimes are perpetrated. We have far more serious matters with which to contend. Serious matters? Did Gregson mention something like that yesterday? Yes, Inspector Gregson made a similar remark yesterday. It's no concern of yours, though I'm sure I need not remind you of that. "3 minutes precisely until my next meeting. You must excuse me." There's just one more thing, Lord Strongheart. Which is? It's Miss Lestrade's trial. I wonder if you might permit me to defend her. A timely suggestion. Sorry? The girl currently has no representation. But that's not fair. Yes, she may be a pickpocket, but she still deserves a fair trial. But she sent away the public defender. Do not misunderstand me, young lady. The government provides for those too poor to afford representation with a public defender. The accused need only sign the relevant paperwork, and a defense barrister will be assigned to the case. However, the young girl in question has refused that right. Why would she do that? A question you would do well to direct at Miss Lestrade. She told you already. She says she doesn't trust anybody. You'll find her at the local prison. Yes, thank you. I feel like I did things in the wrong order, maybe. I don't know. Now then, it's time I was leaving. Good day to you. What a day. Gina charged with murder? Susato-san about to leave? Come, Mr. Naruhodo. Iris, we must make haste. But, Susie... You're leaving for Japan tomorrow morning, aren't you? Don't you have packing and things to do? As Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, my personal circumstances are of no consequence. Oh, judicial. I said it wrong again. Oh, that word trips me up every time. My sole purpose remains to help you in whatever way I can. Thank you, Miss Susato. That's a very pensive look. I think we ought to visit Gina first. In any case, I should like to wish her well before I leave. Yes, that sounds like a good idea. Let's go. If I'm honest, this has completely thrown me off. I'll just have to do what I can as a lawyer. Ah, hello again, Gina. What are you lot here for now? To have the muzzle of that grenade launcher shoved in our faces yet again, obviously. I think I need to improve the way you load ammunition to that thing, don't I? Look. You can come as many times as you like, but I ain't got nothing more to say to you. Gina, I wonder if you might hear me out. There's something I'd like to say. I knew she's gonna convince her. What? Susato has a way with words. I'm sorry to say, I must reluctantly bid you farewell. Eh? Farewell? Tomorrow, I must begin my journey back home, to Japan. I fear we may never meet again. Oh, right. I've had the pleasure of meeting so many lovely people here in London. I have so many wonderful memories. And yet, as things stand now, it will be a glum parting indeed. Poor Iris is so miserable. Susie. Well, that ain't my business. Both Iris and Mr. Naruhodo believe you to be innocent, Gina. They've put their faith in you. But somehow, you can't find it in your heart to put your faith in them. Yeah, that's right, I can't. What of it? It grieves me greatly to have to say goodbye to my friends when they're so clearly unhappy. Wow, she is guilting her so hard. Because of you. Damn. What? It's my fault. Yes, so I have one final request, Gina, before our paths never cross again. Right here and now, I want you to show both of them that you don't deserve the faith they've invested in you. Eh? Only by doing that will you truly be as alone as you claim to be. What are you talking about? What do you expect me to do, eh? You've told us everyone lies. So prove it by admitting one of your own untruths. What about what you said before, Ginny? You said something about unforgivable lies. You must tell Mr. Naruhodo and Iris the truth now. That is my last request before I leave. My last request as a judicial assistant. No, I can't. Whatever these lies are, they're obviously weighing very heavily on Gina's mind. Gina, I could be wrong, but is it something to do with what happened 2 months ago? Something about that trial? The one in which Magnus McGilded was acquitted. Oh, the case of that mysterious murder that took place inside the omnibus. You were called as a witness by the prosecution. Is that what this is about? Yeah, you're right. Because in that trial, I lied. I lied like you wouldn't believe. Will you tell us about it now? There we go. This is what I'm interested in. I want to get down to this. Like you said, it all happened 2 months ago. The coppers got hold of me and shoved me in the witness stand. And based on your testimony, Mr. McGilded was declared innocent. Yeah, well, the thing is, I lied about a whole bunch of stuff. I knew it. What sort of thing did you lie about? I was hiding under the seat that night. That was the truth. It was pitch black in that little cubbyhole. I couldn't see a thing. And then I heard that loud thud, like someone falling on the floor. And that's when Mr. McGilded discovered you. Yeah. He pulled me out from under the seat and sat me next to the dead man. There weren't much light to see by, but when I looked at me, and I had the cove's blood all over him. I was so scared, I couldn't even speak. You had his blood on your hands? In other words, it was Gina that the witnesses on the roof deck saw through the skylight. Then Mr. McGilded started asking you questions, I suppose. Who you were, and why you were hiding under the seat. Yeah, he did. Only, that's not all. What do you mean? He probably gave those discs, right? I mean, he threatened me. Threatened you? How? He made me swear about what I'd seen and what I'd heard, and about what he was going to do after the cove was found dead. He made me swear I wouldn't tell no one about any of it. If I did that, he said he'd let me scarp her before the coppers showed up. Gina, you must tell me what he swore you to secrecy about. Yeah, he's supposedly dead, so does it really matter? What you saw, what you heard, everything. Oh wow, okay, so a lot here. You said McGilded made you swear not to tell anybody what you saw. But you were in the pitch-black compartment under the seat the whole time, weren't you? Yes, with Mr. McGilded sitting above your head, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's true, but it was when I heard the thud of the cove hitting the floor. I let out a little scream, see? Couldn't help it. McGilded heard that and dragged me out by me arm, and that's when I saw it. It was on the floor next to the old geezer what had been stabbed. A disc, all bright and shiny. A disc? Do you mean... Yeah, that's it. The one what the D took off me at Windibanks. So the music box disc was there, on the floor of the omnibus. Not for long. McGill spotted it straight away. He picked it up smartish and stuffed it in his inside pocket. So that disc was in the omnibus 2 months ago, at the scene of Mr. Mason's murder. And the bog trotter told me. I weren't to mutter a word of it to no one. Because it was so dark under the seat in the cab. I was straining my ears the whole time. After a while, I heard the door and footsteps inside the cabin. Presumably, that was McGilded getting on board. Nah, not only him. Oh, because I could definitely make out the footsteps of 2 people. In that case, it would seem likely it was Mr. McGilded and the victim, Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. In his testimony during the trial, Mr. McGilded claimed he slept during the carriage ride. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness and I always succumb to it. And your own testimony, Gina, supported his. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Yeah, that weren't exactly true. Neither of them were asleep. I could hear them talking the whole time in low voices. What? What were they talking about? Sorry, I don't know. The sound of the horses and the wheels was too loud. But that still tells us something. Mr. McGilded and the victim knew each other. So McGilded was lying, as I suspected. I do like that the game occasionally does that, where they wrestle with something that's a real-life situation lawyers can come into, where they're defending someone that they might suspect is guilty, but their job is to defend. And sometimes that means lying, but in Ryunosuke's case, he didn't lie to the court, he just, couldn't prove that he was guilty. I knew it weren't going to take long before someone raised the alarm when the bloke had been killed. Yes, you were quite right. The other passengers on the roof deck noticed very quickly. So when the cab came to a stop, McGilded told me to hide back under the seat again. I climbed in and waited. 2 cops from up top ran off to get the coppers. Yes, Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. Right, and after they'd gone, McGilded asked the driver to do him a favor. A favor? Now then, fella, what I need you to do is take this coat of mine and deposit it with a nearby pawnbroker. And for your troubles, let's see now. Aye, I'll give you 10 guineas. Wow, so he bought off him too. A nearby pawnbroker? You mean on Baker Street? Yep, you got it. It was Windibanks. The coachee snapped up the money and ran off to pop this coat as fast as he could. So, then there was no one left in the carriage. McGilded opened the box under the seat and let me get out of there, but not without conditions. I see. What were McGilded's conditions, then? For letting you go free, I mean. Not telling a soul, not for anything, about what I saw and what I heard. And there was something else as well. There's more? Yeah. This is the most important thing, he said. I'm after sending the coachman on a little errand for me, with some small change in his hand. Now then, did you hear what I asked of him? Did you see anything at all? At all? You asked him to go pop your weasel, right? Aye. The fiend's taken me overcoat to the deposit with a pawnbroker hereabouts. And I want you, lass, to take the redemption ticket for it. Do you understand? What? Do you want me to have the ticket? That's right. And I'll come fetch it from you later. Sometime within the next 2 months. You're to hang on to it until then. Is that clear? Whatever you do, don't lose it. Alright then. And in case I might happen to be delayed at all, you're to go to the pawn shop, Windibank so it is, and you're to extend the loan afore the 2 months is up. If you forget, the article will be forfeited, and any old fiend could come along and buy it. Eh? but I ain't got that kind of brass. Here's £5. That should be enough. Do we understand each other, lass? Don't try anything funny now. If you go against me... Yeah, I get it. Good. And one more thing. In a few days from now, you'll be visited by the police, I've no doubt. The coppers? Aye. They'll come asking you to take the stand in court, to testify as a witness. So let's just have a wee chat about that, shall we? What is it you might say, and what is it you won't? After he'd gone over it all, I piked it, got as far away from there as I could. He hid the pawnbroker's ticket in some bushes near the scene. I went to fetch it the next day once it got dark. So McGill had planned it, and coerced Gina into giving false testimony. I bet you're ready to string me up, eh? I lied. In that big old courtroom, I told some corkers. The thing is, he said he would make it so we couldn't live in the East End no more. That's what he threatened me with. What a wicked man. He knew everything what went on in the back slums. He knew we had no one to look after us. We was all just looking out for each other, getting by together. So you mean Mr. McGilded would have... In an heartbeat, he could have had the lot of us chased out of there if he wanted. And then where could we have gone, eh? Nowhere, that's where. So, I didn't have a choice. Thank you, Gina, for telling us everything. But, I'm for it now, eh? Go on, admit it. You must be livid. Well, you can make amends by doing me a simple favor. A favor? What? Sign the representation papers for tomorrow's trial. Eh? If you don't actually want me to represent you in court, you can rip it up later. But we need that paperwork or we can't investigate. The police won't let us. Investigate what? The scene of the incident last night. Mr. Sholmes was shot, you see. You what? Hurley's having a big operation right now, Ginny. Is it bad? Is he going to be alright? Sholmes is going to be alright, right? That's why I want to investigate, for Mr. Sholmes' sake as much as anything. Right. So, what you're saying is, if I sign that bit of paper, everyone's happy, is that it? Something like that. Miss Susato? Yes, of course. I have the representation papers here. I don't need no one to stick up for me, though. No lawyer or nothing. Poor Ginny. She seems so lonely. Well, at least this should mean we can investigate the scene at Windibanks now. Yes. And perhaps we can come back and visit Ginny when we're done there. I feel like we finally cracked Gina. She's opened up to us at last. And now I have her representation papers. No one else knows just what a responsibility that is. Anyway, for now, it means Inspector Gregson can't stop us investigating at Windibanks. Although something tells me he's not going to be happy about it. Alright, well, that was quite the episode. Damn, we got a murder, we got Sholmes shot in surgery. He will be fine. I know he will be fine. He's gonna come back at the end and everybody's gonna be happy. We got Gina charged with murder. We've got, you know, getting back into that McGilded case, learning that he is guilty. He was guilty just as we thought he was. And we got Susato leaving, which is insane. Like, whoa. It's just a lot to take in this episode, so it should be interesting how that's all going to work out. Like, if something's going to happen where Susato ends up staying, what's the future of her and Ryunosuke as, you know, partners. I'm guessing that Iris is going to be my new partner somehow, but yeah, that's got me really excited to learn more about all of this and how this relates to McGilded, what the discs are, if Strongheart has anything to do with this. I am excited to find out more, but we'll just have to wait until next time. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Until then, bye. Special shoutouts to my top tier patrons: Nana, Sparky, Dumbass Loser, Tequila Mockingbird, Punt Cake G, Joel Ostman, Harry Gazif, Asborn Kennedy, Icognito, Jared Fan, and Pirate.